Since the days when the United States supported the recognition of Israel, and we went to their aid in 1967, in the 67 Six-Day War, and since the days that the United States formed OPEC with the agreement to defend Saudi Arabia in exchange for Saudi Arabia permitting the United States to effectively control the flow of the world's oil and energy supply, U.S. has had a presence in the Middle East, and it's been very important geopolitically to be there. Now, the Secretary of State, Tillerson, says it's in our strategic interest to stay in Syria. At the same time, Russia, as I just said, is saying it's in their strategic interest to be there. The question is, and answering the question of why is the U.S. interested in being in the Middle East and specifically in Syria? So I want to go back to you now, J.R. McGee. You answered the question of why Russia feels its strategic interest to be in the Middle East. You said there's an internal, build back up the glory days of Russia, and externally, control the flow of energy. Now, I want to ask you the same question for the United States, and specifically the Trump administration. Why is it critical, strategically, for the United States to continue to play a dominant role in the Middle East, and now specifically in Syria?
From a strategic perspective, it's very important that we recognize Iran is our greatest adversary at the moment. And Iran is working in conjunction with Russia in Syria that threatens two major components that we've got to pay attention to. One is our allies, and the other one is the access to energy on the world stage. The allies, Iran and Turkey, right now are directly threatening the Kurds. And that's more serious than most Americans realize, because those are large areas of oil-producing fields in that part of the country. Also, Iran and Russia are now threatening the northern flank of Israel very significantly. We have to be in that region to ensure that our allies and our adversaries know that we will protect them against adversarial action. Second, a very significant portion of the world's energy flows through that region. Now, the United States has recently become a net energy producer. Fracking has changed, revolutionized, actually, our oil industry, our economy. We're now a net exporter of energy. So people would say, well, why is that a big issue to us? Oil on the world market will affect the price of oil here domestically. It can't help but be any other way. So if we're not there to stabilize the region, that's going to allow chaos and a major fluctuation and the control of energy reserves to take place in a way that changes the entire chessboard on this whole situation. You have to realize you can't think about short-term actions and reactions. You have to look at where this is going long-term, and whoever controls energy controls economics. If you control energy, you control finances, you control productivity, you control the ability of an organization or a country or a society to sustain and maintain itself. People say money runs the world. I would say that energy is what allows money to run the world. And he who controls the energy strategically controls the world's actions and directions.